Yeah. Right, evening friends, and we just had that eulogy to Len, and I never thought I'd be standing here as your General Secretary, and I've got to tell you, it's one of the proudest moments of my life, to be your General Secretary. So I'm not going to, there's always good news and bad news, and I'm a firm believer I'll give you the bad news first. Because you are boys and you're grown men and women. You're not kids. So the bad news is we've got another tough year ahead of us. Be under no illusions. Another tough year. The impacts of Brexit. We could be in a recession. So we know it's going to be tough. But the good news is that we're still here. They have thrown everything at us, and we're still here, and we'll still be here next year and the year after that. That is what the good news. But look at the state of the trade. The trade is at a crossroads. Without any doubt, the trade is at a crossroads. We have now got to start acting professionally. When I go along now to these meetings with other organisations, and I'm not here to criticise the other organisations, because if you thought the other organisations were fantastic, you wouldn't be standing here tonight. The reality is that this trade has been poorly represented. I went along just in first week in January to this medical seminar. I'm going to make the membership aware of what this was about. TfL plan for us, alongside private hire, but I'm not interested in private hire, I'm interested in us, that we now will have to go to a medical centre of their choosing for our medicals. That is, in my opinion, wrong. My medical records are my personal business. They're nothing to do with TfL. TfL are saying that because in light of the Sun expose, that we've all got to go to these medical centres. They're going to be putting in for tender now with Bupa, AXA, all them people. Well, I objected. I objected on behalf of the UCG, because we've done nothing wrong. So what they're saying is my doctor is incompetent, and they're also saying my doctor is a fraud. Well, I'm saying no, he's not. I'm saying that my right, if I have to have a medical, I should have the right to go down to my GP. Why should I have to go to these medical centres? It's the fact that they call it level 2 or whatever it is driving. If you want to drive a bus, you have to be this standard 2 or whatever they call it. But if you want to go and drive a bus for TfL, you've got an option. You can go to a medical centre or you can go to your own GP. Now, why can't we go to our own GP? This is dangerous, because Bupa and companies like that are not coming into it for our benefit. They're coming into it to make money. Now, I did make TfL aware that the UCG most certainly are opposing this. And I've got to be honest, if you looked at, I know when people, you do in life, you know when people don't like you. Well, I'll tell you now, I know that Ellen Chapman don't like me because the look she was giving. And this Mike Brand, who told me, I told him, I'm not giving you my medical records. You can't force me to give over my medical records. And he turned and said, no, I can't, but I just don't re-license you. So, if that's what they want to do, I certainly said, great, see you in court. So what we're trying to do now, well, I wrote to Ellen Chapman last Wednesday with an email. I still haven't received a reply. Well, the days that you might have used to doing business are over. She will reply, because we will seek a legal opinion on this. And I'm not like anybody else. I can't say to you that the legal opinion is going to come out in our favour, but we're certainly not going to lay down and have our tummies tickled while they walk all over us. So we are going to go and seek a legal opinion. And if the legal opinion backs us up, we'll take it all the way. Because it's a group of working people. It's about time we stood up for ourselves. And that is 2017. That is the state of the trade, where I'm getting nudged by other people at the meeting, other people, and they're winking at me. I think TfL have never had anyone stand up and say no to them. Well, I'm sorry, the UCG are not there to be popular. We're there to represent our members. Ellen Chapman might not like what I said, but it's not personal. She's got to learn this. As an organisation, as a General Secretary of this organisation, all I can do is be reactive to the policies that she's implementing. If she didn't implement these policies, I wouldn't have to be so reactive in her face, would I? But I'm telling you, this is well down the line. We've heard about it in January. We've raised our objections, but it's already gone out of tender. So I'm putting you all on notice now that we're not happy with it. We will be seeking a legal opinion on it, and I hope at the end, after I've finished all my General Secretary's report, you will endorse the position I've taken. We then have had a tariff meeting. Now the UCG, like all the other organisations, we are not going to turn down a pay rise for our members. But we believe, alongside all the other organisations, that it's no good having a review of our meter at this present time when we haven't taken into account the cost of this new vehicle that no one knows what it's going to be. We haven't taken into account the cost of us paying the processing on credit cards and the impact that's going to have on us, because our work rates, as more percentage of our work becomes credit cards, we're paying for this, and they haven't put into it about the apps and how much of our work is apps and how much of the commission we're paying to them. So all the orgs, we're united in that. We'll take our 3.9, but we've said leave a review of the tariff until we know with the vehicle, etc., etc. This Sistra report is flawed. It's absolute nonsense. And on that note, with the tariff, we believe strongly that a united front on that from the trade to turn and say no. Because the meeting I went to, we got people from the apps and the radio circuits there. Now, I'm not telling you how to earn a living. You want to be on the radio, that's up to you. You want to be on the apps, that's up to you. But they don't tell us. They don't negotiate what our pay is, because they're a third party. That's what they are. They are third party. Every penny in this trade comes through our window. So they don't go and get us work, so they shouldn't be they should have no right sitting around negotiating what our pay is. Secondly, I asked the question of TfL, bit naive of me, but why does our raise have to go out to public consultation? Why do you put it there for the public? Because I don't know any member of the public who's going to actually turn and say, we would like the taxi prices to go up. Of course they wouldn't. If Tesco's asked you, do you want to pay £1.50, do you want your milk to go up? You're all going to go, oh yes please, of course you're not. Do when they're negotiating with the RNT for the tube drivers, do they put it out to public consultation then? Should we give them 4% pay rise? No they don't. So why do they do it to us? Because we allow them. That's why they've done it to us. And the days are over. The UCG will not tolerate that. We will represent you and we're going to tell them. We're not having it. We're not happy about it. It's wrong. Absolutely wrong. So that's the tariff. But of course, as you all know, just before Christmas, we have found out that we're being excluded from the bank. When the UCG saw that at 6 o'clock on I think it was a Tuesday evening, by 9 o'clock on the Wednesday morning, we'd organised the demonstration. We organised the demonstration, and we then wrote a letter to the City of London, and we also wrote a letter to the Court of Common Council. I went along to meet the City of London, and I sat there while they were telling me how sympathetic they are, but the figures say this, the pollution levels say that, the safety levels say that, but it's not about that, it's about bus times. That's what it's really about, it's about bus times. So don't insult us. I think it's a restriction of trade. That's what I think. I think if we're part of the public transport infrastructure, we should be allowed to go anywhere. We should be, I believe that we've got opportunities. As a trade, we've got opportunities to appeal this, keep pushing. What we should be doing now, between now and the implementation date, which is the end of April, we should be getting the handicapped, the people on board. Because what we're actually saying is, you can't use bank, if you're in a wheelchair, you can't use that bank station. And most buses can't take you. So you're discriminating against handicapped people when they get around the city. We should be getting that lobby on board. We should also be checking the pollution levels and the traffic levels prior to the implementation, and then checking them after the implementation. That way we can actually defeat them with their own data. That's where we got to do. 6,000 in the city, 6,000 in the snow. Taxis were in the city on that 12th of January. But that's just in the city. The police said to us, Gold Command were looking for me, which whoever Gold Command is, I've got my bronze silver, I never managed to get the gold, but they were looking for me on the day of the demonstration because Gold Command was saying, call the demo off right now. They couldn't cope. The police told me, and get ready for this, 6,000 in the city, they're diverting cabs back, taxis back as far back up to the Finchley Road. So you're talking 12 to 15,000 in the snow. That tells you everything about this trade. Absolutely fantastic turnout. But you know, you cannot criticise. It was fantastic. All of those of you who were there, makes me feel proud. I've always felt proud to be a taxi driver. None more so than that night, in that weather, when you could have earned money because people were looking.
Plenty were, unfortunately. Plenty were.
Thanks, mate. I'll answer that after. Thank you. You could have earned money, but you just put your trade before your own pocket, and that was a wonderful thing, and it was a touching and moving thing. But since then, of course, we know that there's been demonstrations taking place every day, and the UCG are getting a lot of criticism, and me personally getting a lot of criticism for not publicly supporting this. Now, the UCG's policy has always been, because of the sections, public order sections we've had, it's always been, if you want to go, we're not going to discourage you. Just do it, abide by everything the police tell you to do. But we will not publicly come out and support them because we could get the section 11 for incitement, we could get the 12, we could get the 15. And so that's why we took that decision. And the absolute worst scenario, and it is the worst scenario, is that, you know, if they want to blame anybody, they can blame us. And then they can also muck about with our funds. And that's the worst scenario, but they can do that. And that's your money, ain't my money, that's your money, we're a cooperative. That is your money. So that's why we can't stay neutral. And people know this. People know this, but what they've decided to do, they've nicked a couple of my sayings, because I have said over the years, it's not about the lanyard, it's about the badge. And I stand by that, because that's what it's about. But they're now saying, they want to make it about me. And it's not about me, it's the UCG's policy. Now what I'm saying to you, as the members, it's your money, it's your organisation. If you want to change that policy, then I suggest one of you tonight moves it, get a seconder, carry it in this room, and then we would ballot the entire membership. But I would reserve the right on behalf of the committee to speak against it, for the reasons I've just said. Because we can't, and this is a fact. When the problems happened at the GLA, do you all remember that? Who got the blame? Who got the blame? The UCG. When the first St Pancras demonstration, who did they come and get? The UCG. When the same people who were doing the bank demo done Blackfriars Bridge, who had to go into Scotland Yard? Who had to? The UCG. That's why we can't publicly, that's why our opinion is we don't publicly promote it. If that's not what the membership want, then the membership can make us aware. But we would have to make the membership aware of the consequences because they were looking for a scapegoat. The police would love the scapegoat. See, that's the reality. So if you want to go to these demonstrations, our members, most certainly, because we understand the frustration. We understand why they're doing it, because we share all their frustrations. That's exactly how we feel. But we are constrained because we're a proper democratic organisation. We are constrained by the law. And that's, people might not like it, but that's a fact. We're not faceless people on Twitter under an handle. We're actually an organisation. So, of course, the police would know who to come for. So, please bear that in mind. And as I say, if you want to change that, you can. That's your policy. This is your organisation. So then, 2017, and I'll give you it's going to be a tough year, but we've got to have policies. As an organisation, we've got to have policies. So these are coupled for the way the UCG see 2017. We believe that our trade wants to be green. Of course it does. But there isn't a vehicle available for us right at this second. But we also believe there's about 8 or 9 vehicles available right now for private hire. So they should be made to go green on 2018, exactly the same as we do. Which means, because of the prices of these vehicles, in the region of 34,000 for a 45, 50 mile battery radius. Anything above that, you're looking at a Tesla, which is over 60,000, which means they'd have to increase their prices. So we believe we should be pushing for private hires to go green like we have to. We believe that private hire should have to have an advanced driving test like we have to. We believe that private hire, we believe the English tests. We believe make it as difficult as possible to entry into the industry. Make it more expensive means they can't keep doing cheap. It's subsidised fares. We know what they're doing. You know, people think that we don't. But we also believe that TfL have mandated us, and we all know about this, you know, they've mandated us with credit cards. Well, they've put it on us. Rather than leave us to the mercy of corporate greed, we believe they should supply all the machines in the back. We believe that they should give us the same rate as they give for their Oyster and their tier on their buses and tubes. And don't say they can't do it, because they can, which is less than 0.5%. Well, so if they want us to have it, that's what they should bring us into. That's what they should. That's our policies for 2017. We believe that we've got to work as a trade for more unity. Absolutely more unity, because we're the only trade, we're the only body, a group of men and women who know where our enemy is over there, but we're more concerned about fighting him over in the corner. What's all that about? Why do we do that? Why do we keep putting faith? You know, we're not stupid, but we put our faith in the first person who flashes a bit of leg with us. We want to jump in the bed, and let's be honest. You know, who remembers that lunatic from Australia?
Russell Howard.
Right, well, let's be, you know, David Bowie asked the question, the great David Bowie, as I see Ray Lawrence was there, so the great David Bowie asked the question, is there life on Mars? Well, that Russell Howard reckons it is, because he reckons he's been taken now, right? But because his grand plan was put against every tweet, Ubered, that was going to bring, and our trade went, wonderful, we're back it, fantastic. But it was nonsense. It was absolute nonsense. I understand the desperation, because I'm desperate. I'm worried about my bills. They're worried about their bills. You're worried about yours. We all understand that. But we can't keep jumping into bed for everybody who's got an agenda. And they have got an agenda. You know, we've had a mayoral candidate who didn't have the money to stand and then went to the trade, forget it. But we say, oh, he's a good one, he likes our trade. Can we not wake up to the fact that people are using us? Using us. And we're desperate and we, like fools, fool us once, shame on them. Fool us twice, got to be shame on us, isn't it? So come on, we know what we've got to do. We've got to show a little bit more, sense. Stop, you know, we all live with with our heart, but start using our brains. We cannot continue to be fighting one another. There's 23,500 approximately of us. But yet, we're more concerned with what other people in our trade are doing than what our enemies are doing. You know, we've got to get past this mentality of, you know, it's soul destroying. It saps our energy. It's easy to criticise and pontificate on Twitter. That is the easiest option in the world. We can all do this, we can all say that. But the reality is, that's not helping the trade. How is that helping the trade? We all put a big commitment to become cab drivers. You know, we did. But it's like once we got our badge, we just lost our common sense. Because all of a sudden, with every crank out there, we want to come up close to them. And I just don't get it. And I'm saying it's sapping our energy, and we're better than that. So 2017, we've got policies. We're going to try and keep the trade honest, the trade representation honest. We are saying that we're not going to get into public spats with other organisations. When we go to TfL, we go as a united front. Whatever arguments I've got with any other organisation, I'll say to their face behind a closed door. But when we go to face TfL, we must go as one united trade. And if we can't grasp that now, we're never going to grasp it. Because I went on a radio interview, the so-called big debate, which is a bit ironic, you know, there wasn't a big hitter amongst us, you know, we're all cab drivers. What did they get, you know, they built it up like it was Nixon versus Reagan versus Kennedy. But, you know, it's 3 cab drivers sitting there. And between us, we probably got about 5 brain cells. But it was the big debate. And I sat there and I was listening to everyone say, oh, but it's all the cab drivers' fault because over half the trade are not in an organisation. Well, if over half the trade are not in an organisation, when this trade is facing what it's faced for the last 3 years, then we as organisations all must be doing something wrong. Because if you can't galvanise the trade now, you're never going to be able to galvanise them. Because things cannot get a lot worse than they are. We're watching a deregulation of us by stealth. We've watched the corruption from government. We've lived through it all, and yet people are trying to say, oh, it's the trade's fault because over half ain't it. Ask yourself why they're not then, because I must be doing something, this committee must be doing something wrong, and all the other orgs must be doing something wrong. Perhaps it's because it's always the pettiness and it's always the ego. Maybe they don't want that. You know, we've had a terrible habit in this trade when you ring up an org, and I know because I was in a rival org once before and I rung up over the Olympics, believe it or not. I left them over it and I should have joined the UCG then. So I'm moaning about what's happening in the Olympics. You get it off your chest and they go, no, what you really mean is you're really concerned about the reports and this report and that report. No, I'm not. How many times have you all rung up orgs, you tell what you think and then they go, no, what you really meant was this, what you really meant was that. The days of them telling us what we think are well and truly over. The time now is for orgs to listen to what you think, act on what you think, not tell you what to think. And that's what I hope the UCG offers you. I hope it does, and if it doesn't, make us aware of it, because you are the organisation. The UCG, we touched on it earlier, have called a number of demonstrations in the last 2 years, and we are now the second biggest org in the trade. But the UCG done it because we shared the frustration, because we're all working drivers. We understood it, we got it. You know, we're all worried. But we was accused of going on a recruitment drive. That's the best that people can come up with. Oh, it's all a recruitment drive for the UCG. Well, gives me the pleasure tonight to announce we are going on a recruitment drive. We're going on the biggest recruitment drive the UCG's ever undertaken. We're going on the biggest recruitment drive this trade's ever seen. Because that is our banner. That is what we are. Look, the UCG fighting today for our tomorrow. That's you. That's your org. We're going to now go on a mass recruitment. What have we got to offer? 100% democracy. Democratic organisation. What else have we got to offer? We listen to the membership. We're all working drivers. We're a cooperative. Owned by you, the members. You own it. You tell us. Because we're only custodians. You're the organisation. We got a credit union that will allow you to save, will allow you in times of desperate to take a loan at the lowest rate available. We offer 24-hour, 7 days a week, legal cover, as good as anything in the trade, as good as anything in the trade. We offer a political lobby. We have 25 MPs. We're affiliated to the Co-op Party. So we've come a long way in a short while. Now we believe, most firmly, strongly, we believe that the UCG must become the country that every cab driver wants to immigrate to. And the only way we're going to do that is to mass recruit. We've got to get results. We're doing lots of things in the background. So many things getting stretched here, there and everywhere. But with nothing yet, this trade just needs one tiny victory. And that day will come. That day will come. If we can build the UCG, get more members, gives us more money. Money gives us more opportunity to do things. Because we all remember when we was on the knowledge and we'd all stop, we'd look in the pointing and you'd have a cabbie go, give it up son, the game's dead. We've all probably experienced that at one time or another. And then now people will say to you, the best days are behind this trade. Well, I'll stand up here tonight as your General Secretary and turn and say, no, they're not. The best day for this trade is yet to come, because this trade will have its day. It will have its day. When we're strong enough to be fighting back at our enemies, we will. And that banner, fighting the day for our future, we'll be at the forefront of that. Make no mistake about it. Because I'll publicly say now, the UCG have entered the field of this war, and we're determined to wage this war on everybody, whether they be supposedly trade or avowedly competitors. We're not going to stop. We can't afford to stop. We owe it to the next generation. We are going to go out now to the knowledge schools. Tomorrow, we're going to sign them up because every knowledge student we get tomorrow belongs to us. Now I say now to you, the membership, if you sign one person up to the UCG and they quote your badge number, you will get a month's free cover. If you sign 12, you'll get a year. Let's make our organisation, let's grow, continue to grow. Let's make our voice heard. Let's build it. We're a cooperative. Let's keep the trade honest. Let's do what we've got to do as men and women. Everyone, this trade is made up of the finest men and women. I know that. But I also know that I'm very, very lucky because I happen to represent the finest of the finest, the UCG membership. That's what you are. You really are the finest of the best of the best. And let's make our family grow. Absolute honour being your General Secretary. Here's my hand, here's my heart. Love you to death. Thanks for listening.
Cheers, Trev. Brilliant.